That's right.
There you go.
Our sexy new theme song for 2014's
Rocking in the
autumn season. Yeah.
The old New Year. Yeah.
That's right. No, not yet. No, please, not yet. I can't even get through Halloween. Well, today is Monday, October 7th, 2014. And if you can hear me, then you are listening to Straight Talk with your host, the intellectual Kate Taylor, and her co-host, the driven, the dedicated, and deliciously demanding Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor.
Driven? I was never in prison. But cha.
Oh my God. This is HTLA Radio 1, the world's best talk radio on the world's first all brilliantly exceptional, all utterly original talk entertainment programming ever. That's right. I never mess up on that line, you know?
No, it's almost like you've committed it to memory.
I think I might have.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Straight Talk wants to welcome you to its sexy new home at www.htlaradio1.com. That's the number one, just like us. And we're inching closer to the premieres of not one, not two, but three new shows. That's right.
Well, that's right, Missy. Our new Home Talk is going to be premiering on Thursday nights. Then the very long-awaited premiere of The Lifestyle, exploring the many facets of kink, coming to HTLA Late Night Fridays. And to get you erect and pumping for the day, you can lock it here for your daily dose of the morning boner with Kate and Crash. Only here on HTLA Radio 1.
Really? That hot in here, is it me?
Well, it's not morning right now.
It just seems like quite the steamy lineup we've got coming for heating up your winter.
It is. You know, when I talk about home renovation, I get wood.
Yeah, that's the... Well, see? And you didn't even see what you did there. You see?
I get wood,
That's right.
Because I'm renovating.
That's right.
But cha.
So keep your iTunes, tablets, and browsers locked in with us as all of our shows resume and as the Home Talk companion blog is launched as well.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And also our monthly newsletter of all the intellectual happenings on HTLA Radio 1.
Yeah, you got it. Now we're trimming our intro for you so we can get straight to the talk for you listeners.
That's right, sir. Our super new all-inclusive station site has everything on it you need to know. So cruise on over there and enjoy your visit to the world of HTLA.
Oh, yeah. What a world it is.
And you'll see it's actually a world. That's right.
Absolutely.
A real world.
Well, it's very New York, you know. There's a lot of things happening on it. You load the page, it's like, wow, look at that. Oh, wow, look at that. Hey, what's that over there? Cool.
That's right.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I love it. Finally, it's done. Yeah. Wow.
That's right. So what do we got rolling for tonight's show, my dear?
Oh, well, of course, with more and more cropping up, or should I say coming down with, each day about this topic, we're going to be, joining the fray and straight talking the bugger out of the pandemonium that is the Ebola nightmare tonight on Surviving Ebola Rock and Rolla. Oh, yeah. That's the name of tonight's show. Right?
Yes, that's right. We separate the fact from the fallacy for you so you can sleep easy and well.
That's right. You got it. So before we get rolling here, as usual, though, this is your cue for station business, if you please.
Right. Station business. And I have some big station business this week because thanks to our new morning show, The Morning Boner, Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., bright and early, kicking you in the face. We're now partially brought to you by Tim Hortons, New York City.
Yummy. Yummy Timmy's. Yummy Timmy's.
Well, I'm excited.
That's right. Timmy's. Well, we call it Timmy's for all you non-Canadians. We had many of our beginning first and second and preliminary interim dates there when we first got together.
We did.
That's right.
That's where the love was made.
That's right. Every morning we would get up and go to Timmy's for breakfast. That's right. And I miss it.
Well, you don't have to miss it any longer, my dear, because now they partly sponsor the entire Fedazzle here at HTLARadio1.com. And I should mention that tonight, Straight Talk is, of course, sponsored by Tim Hortons.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Also, and as always, Fierce Kitty Omnimedia.
Thank you, meow.
Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter for the station. It's HTLA Radio 1, the number 1. For me personally, you can get me at Crash Talkin', and for my brat beside me here, personal Twitter, you can follow her at Fierce Kitty Kate. Finally, remember to join us here every week because you never know who's going to show up on Straight Talk to talk straight.
That's right.
Now, before we roll it, my dear, it's time to
say it.
You
okay.
betcha.
Ready? Everybody ready? Tonight's show is
powered by Procast.
Oh yeah.
And a little disclaimer right now. This is a virgin moment for Kate. This was the first time she actually pressed that button.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for commemorating that for me.
You bet. Well, we need to.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's a very big leap forward for you to recognize the necessity of commemorating things.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Wow. This is a moment. Captured forever on
well, don't
audio.
take it in too long. We got a show here.
Okay, yes we do. All right, here we go. So tonight we're doing a show that hopefully will answer some questions about this epidemic, put some restless minds to rest, and rev up those of you that maybe aren't taking this threat seriously enough.
And I am interjecting freely throughout.
That's right. He is interjecting freely throughout. That's right. Well, it's true. I mean, you've got everybody from... people like me who think that, and I predicted that they would be coming here and bringing it. I said this about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did.
I did. I said, they're not going to tell. They're going to want to come home for the holidays. They're not going to tell people they've been exposed. They're going to come here and bang, here we go. Right? And here we go.
Yeah.
So, but then you have the people that swear that, the Ebola victims come back to life as zombies. And our 13-year-old just drove me nuts for 3 days with that one. Made me look it up. Mom, look it up. It's true. Look it up, Mom. Look it up. So, yeah, that was kind of rough. But, and it's so funny because I read something on Twitter and somebody's tweet today was, if you think that Ebola victims come back to life as zombies, you're a moron. So I wanted to show her that tweet, but I didn't get a chance. So, yeah. And then, the people that are taking appropriate precautions, and hopefully we'll be creating more of those among our listeners too.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'll tell you something here. In addition to, we're going to, of course, give you all the actual real facts about this. Mm-hmm. And I think, I was going to actually save what I was going to say here for almost an entire section of the show, but I think it's something I can get out a little quicker than that.
Ooh,
so before we get into the facts, if you don't mind, I think I'm just going to interject
freely
an important interjection freely throughout. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
As many of our listeners know, I am 20-year film and television veteran in production. Yes. No, there's no Chris Taylor show somewhere.
Not yet.
Yeah, no. But here's an important thing. You see, people are reacting to this. Do you know? I actually looked at the statistics. You can actually look up statistics for how often things are viewed on Netflix. And I looked up.
Really? I didn't know that.
And well, you can do it for YouTube and a bunch of places. There's a website you go to. I can't think of it right off the top of my head right now, but it can actually.
Who'sviewingwhat.com.
Kind of something like that, yeah. But I was looking at it today, and on Netflix, on YouTube, on Vimeo, on all the media channels,
right?
People are downloading and watching Outbreak.
Oh wow! Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo,
yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh yeah,
and the monkey.
Oh yeah, great! You put the monkey before Kevin Spacey.
Oh,
awesome.
I forgot that Kevin was in it. Sorry.
I forgot that the greatest actor on the planet was in it.
Sorry,
yeah.
Kevin.
Well, anyway, it's interesting to me because the media, well, actually, I should say the media aside from HTLA, all they're doing is what they always do, which is propagate the fear, put out the fear. Holy crap, put out the fear. You know, the guy in Dallas is the first case in point because that's the first one that actually came within the borders of the United States. So, well, the guy in Dallas has got it, and, you know, they didn't get him to the hospital in time, and there's been other people exposed, and, oh, my God, we don't know. And, you know, now there's the guy in Dallas. There's some in Atlanta.
Nebraska.
Some
Atlanta.
In Nebraska.
I've got a chart for later.
Yeah, I know you do. But here's the facts. One of the facts about this, Jack, is that there's only 14 confirmed cases worldwide outside of Africa right now. Also, if you actually look at the stats, SARS is more of a problem than this Ebola
Okay,
is.
wait, though. I have to interject freely here myself because I did do my own research for this show. And this outbreak of Ebola, they've been having outbreaks of Ebola since 1976. Mm-hmm. This particular one now in 2014
Is the biggest ever, yeah.
is the biggest ever. It's claimed more lives in 2014 than all the other cases combined.
2 outside of Africa.
Irrelevant, though.
Okay,
Yet.
okay.
I mean,
Anyway.
but that's just for now, right?
Going on with my point.
You forgot about Spain?
Everybody. No, I didn't forget about it. There's only 2 dead there. Anyway.
So far.
Anyway. Everybody is proceeding like this virus is going to behave exactly like it did in that movie, which is mutate and become airborne. Now, I checked the CDC today in my research. Yes, the Center for Disease Coolness. And actually, Ebola is not the coolest disease, by the way.
Oh, no, not by a long shot.
No. But anyway, I checked with the CDC, and the interesting thing to note here is that they say that statistically the chances of this virus mutating to an airborne virus, meaning that you can contract it just by breathing the air around someone who has it, is virtually nil.
Oh, really? Because
It's that low that they can't even really put a number to it.
Huh.
So, interesting thing. So, what happened in that movie, while being scary and all the rest of it, was a movie.
Right.
It's not the reality. And we're going to get into, on the show here, we're going to get into exactly what, Kate's done a lot of research today about the virus itself, its actual communicability. Yeah, so relax. It's not coming to, it's not
coming to a theater near you.
Well, no.
Well, we don't know that. Okay, well, there's different camps, but we'll get that. They say it's very unlikely that it'll go airborne.
Okay, well, you've got some key facts right here. Why don't you share that with the audience first?
Well, I would, but it's Aqua, so it's yours.
Oh, my goodness, it is too. Uh-oh. Okay, brilliance is becoming contagious. Okay. All right, some key facts. These are all directly from the World Health Organization, so hey, it's got to be true, right? The Ebola virus disease, EVD, formerly known as Ebola hemorrhagic fever, is a severe, often fatal illness in humans.
That's a fact, Jack.
The virus is transmitted to people from wild animals and spreads in the human population through human-to-human contact.
Okay.
The average EVD cause fatality rate is around 50%. Case fatality rates have varied from 25 to 90% in past outbreaks.
Right.
But a lot of different mitigating circumstances apply to those varying percentages. The first EVD outbreaks occurred in remote villages in Central Africa, near tropical rainforests, but the most recent outbreak in West Africa has involved major urban as well as rural areas. It should also be noted here, too, that food, nutrition has a lot to do with communicability rates between Central Africa and the West African urban areas. These people are a lot better fed than the people in Central Africa.
Right, and they're getting it more.
I wouldn't say more.
I don't know. Like I said, it's only early on. It's early on.
Community engagement is key to successfully controlling outbreaks. Good outbreak control relies on applying a package of interventions, namely case management, surveillance, and contact tracing, a good laboratory service, safe burials, and social mobilization.
Yeah, and not villagers killing the people coming to help you.
As well as military protection for
That's
the
right.
medical service personnel.
We added that one. That one wasn't there, but that's a good one.
Early supportive care with rehydration, symptomatic treatment improves survival. There is
good.
yet no licensed treatment proven to neutralize the virus, but a range of blood, immunological, and drug therapies are under development. There are currently no licensed Ebola vaccines or cures,
Right.
but 2 potential candidates are undergoing evaluation right now by the FDA.
Right. Right. Well, that's good. So you did your CDC and I did the WHO, and we've got all our bases covered. So that's good, and I think it's good because our listeners kind of rely on us for the facts. We're not Fox News.
Or they rely on us for just amazingness.
Yeah. Well, that could be too.
Just sheer
Something
awesome.
as important as this, though, they need the facts.
Well, they do, and these are what they are.
Right.
So relax.
Okay. Now, here's the background. The Ebola virus causes an acute, serious illness, which is often fatal if untreated, quite obviously. So, EVD first appeared in 1976, like I said. Dang, I got a good memory. In 2 simultaneous outbreaks now, which is so bizarre to me. Think about the coincidental nature of that. 2 simultaneous outbreaks. So one in Zara, Sudan, and the other in Yambuku, Democratic Republic of Congo. Not even in this. That's weird.
Not even in the what?
The same place.
Oh, no. That is kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes you think there was some strange monkey
I
shipments
was going to say,
on.
what were there 2? They said, all right, we'll hang out, and then they each went their own way.
You know what the next thing will be?
What?
They're Al-Qaeda sleeper cells shipping monkeys.
Oh, I don't know. But, that is really, what else was going on in 76 there?
The Olympics. Oh, not there.
No, well, okay, good point. But I mean, there. Because that's really, now, see, that's the first time I heard that it was simultaneous there. 2 separate outbreaks simultaneous. Wow. Okay. We'll look more into that for you. See, I've got to say, and my husband will attest because I keep him up all night watching my conspiracy theory shows. I'm turning into a conspiracy theorist.
Wayne Pierce and a few others will be very happy to hear that.
I know that. I mean, I can't
You can't discount
a lot of the things that I am hearing and seeing. And, I'm the first one. I'm all facts all the time. My husband will tell you I don't airy-fairy anything.
Nope.
I live purely for empirical evidence. And, if something resonates in that way and I see that and I can't dispute it and no one else can dispute it, I have to consider it.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
A lot of things I've been considering lately. It's scary stuff. Okay. Anyhow, we'll get more to that later. I have a segment.
Oh, yes.
Right. So there's been more cases and deaths in this outbreak than all the others combined, like I said. But it's also spread between countries starting in Guinea and then across land borders to Sierra Leone and Liberia. By air, only 1 traveler to Nigeria. And by land, 1 traveler to Senegal. Okay. The most severely affected countries, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, have very, very weak health systems. They lack human and infrastructural resources. They only have recently emerged long periods of conflict and instability. So, on August 8th, the World Health Organization Director General declared this outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. Okay. Now, a separate, unrelated Ebola outbreak began in Bendi, Equator, an isolated part of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Weird.
See, this is what I'm saying. The virus family, Filoviridae, includes 3 generic, genuses there. Clavovirus, Marburg virus, and Ebola virus.
Right. The Marburg fever is...
Yeah, right. I know that one. Is the Clavovirus the... tequila virus?
No, that's the
Jose Cuervo virus.
Mexican beer. That's where you get that one.
There's 5 species that have been identified. The Zaire, the Bundibugyo, it sounds Australian, Bundibugyo, Sudan, Reston, and Thai forest. Oh, they sound like teas or something. The first 3, Bundibugyo Ebola virus, Zaire Ebola virus, and Sudan Ebola virus, have been associated with large outbreaks in Africa. The virus causing the 2014 West African outbreak belongs to the Zaire species.
Let's go a little bit into the transmission that I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
It is thought that fruit bats, yes, it's the bats' fault.
But I love my fruit bats.
Everybody, because of the Ebola movie, good old Outbreak, everybody thinks it's monkeys.
I love my bats, though.
According to the CDC and the World Health Organization, it is bats who are the culprit at spreading this sucker.
Dang nabbit.
Mostly by their droppings getting onto food and all that good stuff. Yeah.
I just can't believe it's the bats. I'm really, really upset. I'm going to go cry while we have our first commercial break. And
all right.
And when we come back, hubby here will continue about how else it can be given to you or
I will continue on my bat hate rage.
Transmitted throughout.
That's right.
Okay, you stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions? Abundant with rich, fertile soil. What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
Down your glasses. White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
You walked into the hotel as a 5. But when she saw the room, you turned into a weird 7. When she saw the rooftop pool, you went to 11. You two should probably get a room. Oh, that's right. You already did. At Planet Earth's #1 accommodation site, Booking.com. Yeah.
The world is facing one of the biggest crises in the history of history. Girls are getting hotter and hotter. This is causing guys to lose their cool. It's happening everywhere. That's why the people at Axe have developed the new Axe Chill collection. It helps guys keep their cool before it's too late. Girls are getting hotter. Keep your cool with the new Chill collection from Axe.
And now back to Kate and Crash on Straight Talk, HTLA-radio1.com. That's right. You've got it tuned here Monday night to Straight Talk with Kate and Crash.
Yay.
And we are moving into our second segment of the Ebola rock and rolla.
That's it.
Yes, so fruit bats are the culprit.
No.
Those little pteropodidae.
Did you ever see how beautiful they are? I know.
I've seen them, yeah.
Oh, I love them so much.
Well, they're natural Ebola virus hosts. Ebola is introduced into the human population through close contact with blood, secretions, organs, or other bodily fluids of infected animals such as chimpanzees, gorillas, fruit bats, monkeys, forest antelope, and porcupines.
Aww.
Yes, because humans have a lot of close contact with porcupines.
Well, they do. They eat them as roadkill.
You see how idiotic this is?
But it's true. The natives, they find them dead or ill in the forest, and they will take them, just as the Americans do the roadkill, to have roadkill stew, etc., I suppose.
Well, then that serves them right, and this is going to correct the imbalance in nature. Anyway,
Except for it's coming here. Yeah.
Well, don't eat the roadkill stew. Hello? Ebola then spreads through human-to-human transmission via direct contact, people, through broken skin or mucous membranes, i.e.,
Kissing.
anus.
Yeah, no, but it's not just that. I mean, if you have a fever blister and you kiss somebody and they have it, you got it.
Yeah, well, don't suck any blisters. How about that?
Oh, Daddy.
Blood secretions, organs, or other bodily fluids of infected people. And with surfaces and materials, example, bedding, clothing, contaminated with these fluids.
This is serious now. See, it's not like at least HIV, you have to have, no airborne. It's got to be direct fluid to fluid.
Well, what she's trying to say here, folks, is that the AIDS virus, the HIV there, that doesn't survive out in the world that we know here, that we live and breathe in.
But Ebola does.
It doesn't survive at all. It immediately dies.
As soon as it hits the air, right?
Ebola, however, can remain active and alive on surfaces for 14 hours. That's the lifespan, according to the CDC.
Oh, you read that.
And after 14 hours, if it is existing in a fluid, so in other words, a coffee spill on the counter or something, in a fluid, it can survive longer than 14 hours in a fluid, but no longer than 48 hours. So that's the facts there. Now, healthcare workers have frequently been infected while treating patients with suspected or confirmed EVD. This has occurred through close contact with patients when infection control precautions are not strictly practiced, or like in that movie when he got pricked right through the glove.
The suit, yeah.
Burial ceremonies in which mourners have direct contact with the body of the deceased person can also play a role in the transmission of Ebola. People remain infectious as long as their blood and bodily fluids, including semen and breast milk, contain the virus. Men who have recovered from the disease can still transmit the virus through their semen for up to 7 weeks after recovery from the illness.
7 weeks?
Yeah.
We didn't even wait that long after we had our son.
Well, thank God I didn't have Ebola.
I know, but that's like a long time.
Next window.
That's a long time, 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 2 months.
Yeah, well.
That's crazy. Oh, no. Well, anyway, the incubation period, that is the time interval from infection with the virus to onset of symptoms, is 2 to 21 days. So that's also quite a long time, you know, because you think you're free and clear, and then 3 weeks later you get sick, right? Well, it's true. That's why this is why I'm worried now, right? Because they think they're okay, and then they come home and they're not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So humans are not infectious until they develop symptoms, which is good. Okay, that's good. First symptoms are the sudden onset of fever, fatigue, muscle pain, headache, and sore throat. Wow, we've had all of those this autumn.
That's it. We've got Ebola.
That's it. But we don't have this part. It's followed by vomiting, diarrhea, rash, symptoms of impaired kidney and liver function, and in some cases, both internal and external bleeding. You know, for example, oozing from the gums, blood in the stools, et cetera, et cetera. Laboratory findings include low white blood cell and platelet counts and elevated liver enzymes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it can be difficult to distinguish EVD from other infectious diseases, such as malaria, typhoid fever, and meningitis. Confirmation that symptoms are caused by Ebola virus infection are made using the following investigations. The ELISA test. So that's the same kind of test used to detect the HIV virus, right?
They fire up an old Mac Classic computer and get ELISA on the case?
Maybe. Antigen capture detection tests, serum neutralization tests, reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction or RT-PCR assay, electron electron microscopy. The easiest word, right?
Yeah, I thought you had medical terminology.
I did. I studied medicine for many years. People don't even know that. They think the interior design's a surprise. I worked in microbiology and pathology and emergency medicine in the ER for years. So, yeah, and it's the little ones that trip you up, just like that. Virus isolation by cell culture. So, in other words, petri dish growing, which is what I used to do in microbiology.
There you go.
Okay. So they probably put it in virology, though. Samples from patients are an extreme biohazard risk, right? Laboratory testing on non-inactivated samples should be conducted under maximum biological containment conditions.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for that PSA from the Umbrella Corporation.
Thank you. I know. It feels like that, though. I'm not kidding. It's so true.
That's what I mean. Our society is so jammed up with this. Oh, it's staggering.
It's scary, though.
Well, you know, it is scary, and I will grant you one of your movie plot points, the long incubation time, because, you know, somebody could be in Africa, be there for 2 weeks, be absolutely fine, and think, oh, you know, nobody will screen them, they'll come home, nobody will quarantine them. Well, see, here's the problem with that, though.
We got another segment on that, yeah.
I think the CDC would quarantine you. I think if the incubation period can be as long as 3 weeks, I think that would be part of their protocol for this particular virus, unless they're stupid.
Yeah, but they're going, well, it depends. Maybe in America here, but what about the people in Spain now? They don't have the same protocols.
No, but at least they can dance.
True. And make up paella.
And make love. Like Antonio Banderas. Anyway, supportive care rehydration with oral or intravenous fluids is a good base treatment. And treatment of specific symptoms improves survival. There is, as yet, no proven treatment available for EVD. Sounds like some I've got an erection dysfunction.
Yeah, it says.
Somebody is suffering from EVD.
Let's just say Ebola.
Yeah. Well, everybody is anyway.
Right.
However, a range of potential treatments, including blood products, immune therapies, and drug therapies, are currently being evaluated.
Right.
No licensed vaccines, again, are available yet, but 2 potentials are undergoing testing with the FDA.
Human safety testing.
Yes. So if you have some friends or loved ones who are living on the street somewhere and they're gone from their boxes or garbage cans,
now you know.
You know where they are. Reducing the risk of wildlife to human transmission. Well, let's see. Limit your contact with wildlife. There you go.
Well, it's not just that, right?
Yeah. From contact with the infected fruit bats or monkeys/apes and the consumption of their raw meat.
Who's going to eat bats and monkeys and apes?
Monkey soup is
It's not a delicacy
loved.
Anywhere.
I'm in Africa. Come on, monkey stew. It's got to be one of the tops.
Who could eat monkeys? They're so like us and so cute and stuff. I couldn't imagine.
Well, they're so like a lot of people, but
True.
Animal products, blood and meat, should be thoroughly cooked before consumption. Yeah, you know what? Somebody brings me home a nice Ebola monkey. I don't think I wouldn't be cooking that sucker for 3 weeks and having it.
I'll pass, thanks.
Yeah, no.
I'll starve.
How you can reduce the risk of human-to-human transmission? Well, stay away from humans.
There you go.
From direct or close contact with people with Ebola symptoms, particularly with their bodily fluids. You know, I was just talking to Jim over at the water cooler today, and I didn't exchange bodily fluids with him, so I think we're okay.
Right. But, what if he sneezed on you or spit on you or, wipes his hand and he wipes his nose and shakes your hand and then you rub your eyes? That's also how it is transmitted.
Which is another reason why I'm not a proponent of handshaking.
But especially since this survives outside of the body.
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, those Ebola symptoms and their bodily fluids. Yes, gloves and appropriate personal protective equipment should be worn when taking care of ill patients at home. Regular hand washing is required after visiting patients in hospital as well as after taking care of patients at home. Outbreak containment measures, including prompt and safe burial of the dead, or my personal favorite, pile them up in huge piles and burn them.
Like we did during the plague, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Identifying people who may have been in contact with someone affected with Ebola and turning them into the government. Yes. Oh, I saw him rubbing up against some Ebola people.
Yeah.
Monitoring the health of contacts for 21 days. The importance of separating the healthy from the sick to prevent further spread. The importance of good hygiene and maintaining a clean environment.
Right. It's funny you said that about separating the healthy from the sick, because a little later on, if you go to tryfreedom.org, I believe it is. Hang on a second. Let me double check my notes here. thinkprogress.org. What did I say it was?
I don't know, but not that.
I said try freedom. Try freedom. Okay. No, sorry. It's thinkprogress.org. We'd like to offer that correction there. It's not try freedom.
Cry freedom.
It's Africa, right?
Well, something that gets me about this, if this actually, call it a crazy outside hunch, but if it actually did build up in the United States and became an epidemic here, the hilarious thing is that the government would immediately institute martial law and they would immediately open up all the FEMA camps. Well, the FEMA camps are going to centralize everybody.
Right.
You're just going to kill everybody.
Well, no, this is what I was going to say, though. But go to the, what was it again?
Cryfreedom.com.
Cryfreedom. No, thinkprogress.org. Right, thinkprogress.org. Yes. Well, there's actual now groups of people that are calling for either, and we'll speak about this a little bit later in another segment, but they're actually calling for the extermination or exile of people that test positive for Ebola.
Well, absolutely, and there's people who are raging that the airports have not all been closed.
No, and I said the same thing. It's not about closing them, but, nobody's going to do... Think of the record keeping we have here. People work for, $6.75 an hour, and, and what kind of record keeping are they going to do in Africa? That's just the kind of thing that I'm thinking about. And like I said, about a month ago, I said... You're going to get people that are going to claim they were okay, not in contact, come back home and get sick. Because nobody wants to be in Africa for the holidays, and it's the holidays. coming up.
Well,
So
yeah.
I'm telling you. Okay, the World Health Organization is responding to this crisis in, as much as they can.
Yes, with the Cry Freedom campaign.
I can't believe I actually said try freedom. What the heck was I thinking? I'm tired. Okay. The World Health Organization aims to prevent Ebola outbreaks by maintaining surveillance for Ebola virus disease, EVD, and supporting at-risk countries to develop preparedness plans. It's a little late.
Well, and how do you develop preparedness plans in countries that don't have any infrastructure?
That's right, exactly. The document provides overall guidance for control of Ebola and Marburg virus outbreaks. And when an outbreak is detected, the WHO responds by supporting surveillance. This cracks me up. By supporting surveillance, community engagement, case management, laboratory services, contact tracing, infection control, logistical support, that's a big one, and training and assistance with safe burial practices.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. So it's all leading up to the end. Just bury them this way. Yeah, there's nothing we can do. I mean, because really, what kind of surveillance do they have?
Well, I think they're meaning surveillance on people to see where they go and who they're coming into contact with.
I'm aware of what that means. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. But I mean, what kind of surveillance do they have?
Yeah.
You have, you know, tribal camps in the jungle and such. What?
Let's just go to that parkade video surveillance there. And
right, exactly. It's not like London where you got a camera on every corner.
No, and considering that all of our U.S. military drones are busy overlooking in Syria's backyard.
That's right. And infection control, I thought that would kind of be a given. I mean, what's the point of even mentioning that one?
That's why I said on Crash Talk last week, let's pull out of there and nuke the whole place.
Oh, it's sad. It's sad. I don't want to do that either. I can't say I would want to hurt any innocent people, but I don't think anybody should be there in the first place.
And the Disney people would be crying over Simba. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, and my
Solve
fruit bats.
the problem.
My poor fruit bats. Yeah, well.
Solve the problem.
Oh, I know. Well, anyway, here's my chart. Right?
Okay.
Because I've got my chart. Okay, now, a Liberian man began showing symptoms 4 days after arriving in Dallas. Okay, he was from Liberia, this dude. He flew into Dallas. Note to America, if you have a national from one of the countries infected with Ebola, you don't let him fly into a national, international airport.
Well, this is what I don't understand. How are they even getting into the airspace? Especially since 9/11 when we've tightened up so much security and we're so much more hotshot than we were then.
Right. But his passport says, I am a citizen of Liberia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, hey, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it says Liberia, Congo, Sudan, any of those places I've just read off to you.
Not have been allowed to board the plane.
You may not come until the outbreak is over.
When something is going on like that in your country, like here in Sudan, if you want to fly to Chad on business, fill your boots.
Right, exactly.
You want to go to Europe or North America?
Sorry.
No.
You have to Skype them.
Yeah.
Seriously. Okay.
That's right.
So now we've got Omaha, Nebraska Medical Center, right? There's an outbreak. There's a thing there. Okay. So there's also green on this chart that I'm reading. I know you can't see it. Means that they'd been cured. The orange.
There's no cure and there's no treatment. Oh, but these guys have been cured.
Well, that's what it says on the chart here.
Yeah.
And orange means that they're in treatment, and the red means that they've died.
Yes.
Okay.
Dead.
So, died. Okay, now check it out. You're wrong about the cases outside, though. Seriously, there's just more than what we think, and there's more every day. Okay, so one person in Nebraska has supposedly been cured, and one is in treatment. Right, out of the two people in Nebraska.
Yes, and the cured one was seen at a football game tonight.
Oh, God. Absolutely.
Come on, cured.
I know. And he hasn't been here 3 weeks, so how is he cured?
No.
They have to keep him quarantined for 6. That's what I say. But anyway, the Dallas guy, the Liberian, he's orange. He's in treatment. Now, there are 3 people in Atlanta, Georgia, now also. So what does that make? That makes 6 people just in the U.S. right now.
Yes, but we should say that 2 in Atlanta are cured.
There are 2 cured in Atlanta. That's right. And 1 is still in treatment. At Emory University Hospital.
See, this is what I'm saying about you can't believe what mainstream media is putting out there.
This isn't mainstream media. I got this from one of the health organization sites.
Well, one of the health organization sites has got a cure and nobody else does?
Oh, dang nabbit. I think they just mean that the person had it and recovered. I don't think they mean that, here, take this pill and we've cured you.
We gave him a little orange juice and he's fine now.
Right. And I think what it means, though, is they've given him that supportive therapy and he's symptom-free.
He came back from the dead.
He's the resuscitated zombies. Don't let you hear you. Okay. So, all right. Now, on to Europe. Okay. There is a case of someone in treatment in Oslo, Norway. Those poor Norwegians.
Yeah?
There is somebody who got cured in Hamburg, Germany, and there's somebody in treatment in Frankfurt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. They're not going to be happy about that. Naturally, there's somebody who was cured in London and somebody who was cured in Paris.
Yes, they're too bloody British to get sick.
Yeah, it's called 28 Months Later. Yeah, because we haven't done that one yet.
Okay, let's not foster the fear of movies.
I can't help it. I don't want to, but now as I've done this show, I'm scared.
Well, don't be scared.
All right. So anyway, in Madrid now, we've got 2 dead.
Dun, dun, dun.
We've got 2 dead in Madrid and 1 in treatment. A Spanish nurse contracted Ebola while treating a missionary who died in a Madrid hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's got it, and her husband is now in treatment also.
All from Africa.
Yeah. So that's quite a bit, right?
Lovely.
So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, okay, 14.
This is what I said at the beginning of the show. Yeah.
Right. Okay, you're right. But that's just today. Tomorrow it'll be more.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right.
So
well, we're going to go for our second commercial break here on Straight Talk. And when we come back, what are we going to get into?
Obamacare, helping or hurting during the crisis.
Please.
And there's a theory that the Ebola fears are being hyped up to increase Obamacare enrollment.
Yes, and extend his presidency indefinitely.
Well, he can't do that, so thank goodness for that.
Oh, he'll make a law.
No, we can't do that.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes after these words from Timmy Hortons.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where fresh always tastes better. What can I make you this morning?
How about our new flatbread breakfast paninis? Made fresh, just for you, with your favorite breakfast ingredients on maple or multigrain flatbread, then grilled to hot, melted perfection. Just $2.99. Who couldn't warm up to that?
Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where quality really does meet value.
So do you guys think being fast is better than being slow?
Yes! It's better to be fast, to not be bitten by a werewolf, and then you'll be turned into one, and you'll have to stay in, and then you'll have to get shades because you'll be too hot, and then you're like, which means I wish I was back to a human.
What?
It's not complicated. Faster is better. And AT&T is the nation's fastest 4G LTE network for your iPhone 5.
The images you're about to see may be difficult to look at. Sadly, every year millions of innocent cakes are mangled, mistreated, and hurt. But there is something you can do. Go to the freezer section and pick up new Cool Whip frosting. It's whipped, fluffy, and perfectly sweet, so it spreads on easily, leaving cakes unharmed. Please help. Cool Whip frosting. Together, we can change the way cakes are frosted.
Have I got a treat for you? New Clean Whipped Cream Foundation from CoverGirl. A delicious new recipe whipped up by Clean Makeup. They took their clean, fresh foundation, added a dash of hydration, then whipped it to smooth, matte perfection. Finally, a non-drying whip that wears like a dream. What a treat from Clean. New Clean Whipped Cream from easy, breezy, beautiful CoverGirl.
I've been eating Egg McMuffins since 1984. But when I saw Taco Bell made a waffle taco, I figured I would get with the times. So I got a haircut and I got some tighter pants. Lost my flip phone, got a smartphone, even took down my Loverboy poster. Now I'm eating waffle tacos and AM Crunch Wraps, and I just made like $700 on Craigslist.
Move on from your old McDonald breakfast with Taco Bell's exciting new breakfast menu.
And now back to Kate and Crash on Straight Talk, HTLA Radio1.com. Thank you, announcer man. Yes, we are back, and you are listening to Straight Talk with Kate and Crash on HTLA Radio 1 New York. And we are talking about Ebola, rock and rolla.
Ebola, rock and rolla. How to survive and what to do when it goes airborne. No, I'm telling you.
Stop, drop, and roll.
It's gonna. Okay, so best case scenario, right, is 70% of the patients are treated in settings that confine the illness and that the dead are buried safely. Worst case scenario, if the disease continues spreading without effective intervention, the CDC director, Thomas Frieden, says, my gut feeling is the actions we're taking now are going to make that worst case scenario not come to pass. But it's important to understand that it could happen. 1.4 million cases through January.
Oh, okay. Okay, Miss Dramatic Kate.
Dramatic Kate. Tonight on Fox, 8/7 Central.
I'd also like to point out that 1.5 million death rate, yeah, compare that to the 310 million in this country. Don't care.
Well, I do if I'm one of them.
Well.
Thank you very much.
There is that.
That's right.
And it'll be Straight Talk with Crash.
Do you know that no wonder they killed all those doctors. You know, in West Africa, the natives believe that if you say Ebola out loud, you'll get it. It makes the disease appear. Such beliefs, they've created major obstacles for the physicians trying to combat the outbreak. And some people are still blaming the physicians for the spread. They decide to turn to witch doctors for their treatment. And their skepticism isn't without a grain of truth, because in past outbreaks, hospital staff members who didn't take thorough precautions became unwitting travel agents for the virus.
Oh, okay. Society that kills the modern healthcare workers because they would rather go to witch doctors and think that we're spreading it. Get out of the country and nuke it. Thank you.
Well, I know, but we can't really do that.
Oh, I think we can.
Unfortunately, every single Ebola, Marburg virus, MERS, and SARS, all fruit bats are bats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Marburg actually is short for Mark Wahlberg, and if you've been exposed to him, you need to go to a medical facility at your earliest convenience.
We're just kidding, Marky. Don't listen.
That was funny, though.
That was awesome.
And I'm trying to lighten the mood from all your dramatic Kate.
I know, but, it's tough. I mean, well, how are the bats spreading the virus? Are they biting animals that are then being eaten by us?
I thought I was clear when I said that, bats are flying and migrating all the time, and they poop when they fly, and the poop gets on food and foliage, and other animals eat the poop. And
I see. So they're not biting us or any of that sort of thing.
No,
okay.
That'll be the next bloody horror movie. The swarm of bats eating everybody.
I'll get right on it.
It'll be The Flying Dead.
Oh, wow. Very cool. See, you can't see those things out loud. I could have written that. Now somebody else is going to beat me to it.
Yes, AMC, The Flying Dead.
So let's talk a little bit about Obamacare and whether you think that the current thing is going to help or hurt the crisis, and the theory that this is all being perpetrated and created and hyped up to increase Obamacare enrollment.
Well, I'd like to know what the heck is Obamacare?
I know, it's so complicated. I haven't even enrolled or done anything yet. And I have to, by law, get our whole family, sorted and enrolled. But, I had no idea. I couldn't tell you.
In Canada, it's simple. You get a card. It's called a care card. A care card, you just take it to the hospital with you, and boom, everything's just done.
I know.
Obamacare? It's supposedly supposed to be the same kind of thing. It's supposed to be socialist health care following the models of Canada and many European countries. Yet all I hear about is they can't finish the website because they can't get the right picture of Obama on there, or they can't finish the website because, some coder just up and quit and went to work for Facebook or something. Like, what's the deal?
Right.
And then when you ask people, what is Obamacare? They're like, well, it's a thing that they talk about on the news. I don't know. Nobody even knows what the hell Obamacare is.
It is. It's very, very confusing here. I'll see if I can.
And the bottom line is, Obama doesn't care. So why are we putting that word with his name? I don't get it.
Because he created, supposedly, the reform and instituted it and got it passed. But here's something else. If you go to Try Freedom, no, I'm kidding. If you go to
Try Freedom,
no, seriously, go to the thinkprogress.org website, because here's what it's about. The biggest resistor, the biggest opposition to Obamacare, he opposed it something like 34 times every time it came up to be voted on.
Yeah.
He was his biggest detractor. Is now saying that you need to do Obamacare because it's actually going to be beneficial for this crisis. So I just don't know why that website won't stay in my head. It's just thinkprogress.org. It's pretty easy. I don't know what's the matter with me today. It won't stay. I got the Ebola.
No, you've just been watching Braveheart too much.
I know. No, I've been. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I'll get some more information about that though for you.
Okay.
And Rush Limbaugh, he cracks me up. You know what he says? Did you know what Rush Limbaugh said?
I never know what Rush Limbaugh says because
he said that Obama wants Americans to get Ebola as a payback for slavery.
Well, if we want to go the slavery route, let's talk about the family members who sold their family members as slaves in Africa, shall we? Let's bring that up to Mr. Obama.
All right. Here it is. Yeah, so anti-Obamacare congressman urges Obama to use Obamacare to fight Ebola. So he's not saying sign up for Obamacare. He's saying that he wants Obama to, step up and put his new things into effect to help combat Ebola, put more measures in place and all that kind of stuff. He voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act more than 30 times, like I said. But he called on the federal government Monday to use the fund embedded in the law to help prevent a national outbreak.
We have funds embedded in law now?
According to this, in Section 4002 in the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, it's called the Prevention and Public Health Fund. And it's a self-replenishing fund. Okay.
Wow, that's pretty creative.
We have a self-replenishing anything fund?
Oh, don't you know, the president says that he's paid off over half the $512 trillion debt already.
Wow, and he gets away with that blatant kind of lie?
His own financial people say it's going to take decades and decades to even begin paying that off.
Course.
The spending hasn't stopped, so of course it's increasing at like $300 million a day?
Oh my God. Well, $2 billion washes into the Secretary's offices of Health and Human Services for her to use to do whatever she wants. On the first of every year, it replenishes $2 billion.
She goes to Cancun.
I know, really. And this guy is saying, let's take this $2 billion and fight the disease. But Republicans have previously described the prevention fund, which invests in community and clinical prevention. Like free clinics and outpatient care clinics and all that such, right?
Mm-hmm.
Public health infrastructure, immunizations and screenings, and tobacco prevention. No, bad. Go away. And public health workforce and training as a slush fund. And they've repeatedly voted to cut its funding. Of course they have, right? But they're saying even the Republicans now want, us to use this self-replenishing $2 billion to go directly and totally to the Ebola fight.
Well, it's too bad the government went PC and alienated all of those tobacco lobbyists, paying millions and millions of dollars to them to endorse smoking. Because now, look, they don't have all that money. They could have had all that money now to fight Ebola, but no.
I know. Well, he said that it's preposterous that you'd continue to use this money for what he considers non-essential incidentals when you've got this fire raging right outside your door.
There is that. But I think it's still, call me whatever you call me, but I think we're quite a ways away from, declaring national emergency and, oh my God.
Right.
I just don't see it.
Well, Nigeria stopped Ebola. They did it. They stopped, they stopped the spread of it. So if they can do it in Nigeria, which is not America, there's no reason why we can't.
Well, exactly.
So I guess there's a little hope there.
It's not like a heat wave in the South, where all the kids and all the old ladies are going to die. It's no.
Yeah. Oh, and just on a sidebar, forget about all the Ebola stuff. I think everybody should go to thinkprogress.org website. I'm just kidding now. Because there's a great article on here that Americans are more depressed now than they've been in decades.
Well, it's because we're not allowed to smoke. We're not allowed to, drive without seat belts.
We're not allowed to say we don't like somebody.
They've taken all the fun out of living, so why wouldn't we all be depressed and just, diverting ourselves with, video games or computer or our cell phone or, of course.
Well, it's like I say, and I don't want to digress and get off on another track, but it's coincidental, isn't it? When the whole rest of society, everything's falling apart, we're more depressed than ever. So, yeah, there you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, enjoy.
Well, unfortunately, I've still got to be part of this, too, and raise our kids in this, but, what are you going to do?
No, we don't. That's what the compound is for.
That's right. You're dang straight, and that's where we are going. We're going. We're going. We're going. We're going.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Raise an army of fruit bats. Have them fly over, causing mayhem and fear everywhere.
So, I don't know. I think that makes the theory that Ebola is being hyped up to increase enrollment in Obamacare, because even though people are mandated by law to sign up for this, or they can get fined or go to jail, how can the government tell people you have to sign up and pay a portion for this health care, or you can go to jail or be fined?
When the entire country's government is based on one word, and that is freedom, you can't.
But that's what Obamacare has done now. You have to sign up or you're going to go to jail.
They couldn't even... November 2013 is when that website was supposed to be finished and up and running and working.
Right.
When asked about it 6 months later, he still didn't know and still didn't have a specific date as when that website would launch. $2 billion they threw into the website. You tell me, who are the web developers who can't get it together to make a website for $2 billion?
I know. Gosh, we did ours. It took a long time, but we did ours.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. As soon as I'm just waiting for that to pop up there on the teleprompter, but I will give you a little bit of background about that in a second. So.
Okay. Well, they can't get the website up now. November 2014. Now we're at a year later. Still, the site's not working. It's not working.
Really? Still?
No.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know.
Well,
that.
I guess they need more money. Yeah, to go to Cancun or something.
Give me $2 billion. I'll build the website in 2 days.
They could give me $200,000. I'd have it built in 2 days.
$20. I'll do.
A couple of packs of smokes.
That's it. That works for me.
And
lots of Timmys.
It's just ridiculous. But to get on to kind of where I was going with all this is everybody has, a certain, I don't know, well, everybody's got their own little rice bowl, and everybody's got their own causes and things they're working on and all that good stuff. And when something like the Ebola thing happens here now, the scare is going on or whatever, everybody will try and use, if they can possibly make it align, they will align their cause with the Ebola thing to add urgency to whatever it is they're wanting or needing.
Right.
So like this guy with this $2 billion in this, 4002 fund or whatever, wanting to use it for the fire outside our door, et cetera, et cetera. That's because that's something he wants. He maybe he's been after that $2 billion sitting in something, for something else for so long. Well, now we'll just, we'll use the urgency of Ebola to get that money released or whatever.
Right. Well, who gives this chick $2 billion on the first of the year to disperse at her leisure?
I would probably ask Mr. Obama.
How'd she get that job? I want it.
Well, who wouldn't? But,
That's just insane. It's raining, really storming outside. So if anyone is listening and you hear rain, it's storming outside right now.
It's Ebola. Yeah.
That's right.
Ebola rain.
67 degrees and pouring in Central Park.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. We've got another little topic here. Let's get into.
Well, hold on, because we've got to go for our third commercial break right now.
Okay, super. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll be back in a few minutes here and enjoy this next Tim Hortons commercial, because Lord knows we do.
Uh-huh.
Be right back, gang.
It could be 7 in the morning.
Or 10 at night.
In Chilliwack, BC.
Or St. Peters, Nova Scotia.
It could be Michelle.
Or Murph.
Or Jen.
But whenever.
Wherever you order that cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee. You know that it's always fresh.
From Newfoundland and Labrador to Vancouver Island, Tim Hortons, a coffee all our own.
It's a stick revolution. Now skin goes shine-free and naturally matte in just one step. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline, New York. The first of its kind. Fresh gel foundation with an anti-shine powder core inside. Dissolves oil while it blends to a natural matte finish. For coverage that's fresh, flawless, one step perfect. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline.
Stick with us. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
I always said shoes are like women. They inspire beautiful music.
But what about these?
Stilettos sound like this.
What does my fragrance inspire?
That's got soul.
My ties are beautiful. They don't need music.
Bringing the stars together. That's the magic of Macy's.
At LG, we dreamed of a day when you could rely on the perfect kitchen. We dreamed of a day when a dishwasher wouldn't require any pre-rinsing. When a refrigerator could be uniquely designed for better access and storage. When a washer could save 20 minutes on larger loads. And an oven would take minutes to clean instead of hours. And for you, that day is now.
I live for the applause, applause, applause. I live for the applause, applause, live for the applause, applause, live for the way that you cheer and scream for me. The applause, applause, applause. Give me the feeling of what you feel to make them turn, turn. Give me the feeling of
Just Dance 2014. Stay in, go all out.
And now back to Kate and Crash on Straight Talk, HTLARadio1.com. Thank you, Announcer Man. And we are back. You are listening to Straight Talk with Kate and Crash on this rainy Monday night here in New York. And we're just talking now about the accountability and responsibility for keeping it out of the country. How about that, Kate?
Right. Well, whose responsibility is it? And is it the country where, you know, the disease is originating? Are they responsible for keeping it in, or are we responsible for, when they try to land, keeping it out? Obviously.
Well, I think you'd have to look at the national agencies first and foremost. I mean, the FAA, of course, would be the forefront agency in terms of, knowing who's coming from where at any given point in time.
Right.
That's what all the plane manifests are for. That's why you show ID when you get on a plane. So I would think that they would be sort of the first line of defense to know about the guy from Liberia going to Dallas. I think, now don't quote me because I'm not sure on this, but I would think that the FAA would have, direct lines to, every other agency to inform them, we've got these people from Liberia that may be a potential Ebola risk.
Right.
Because the CDC, that other agency who monitors world outbreaks, combined with the World Health Organization, who work together all the time, you would think they'd be communicating back and forth, and they would let the FAA know, well, we've got this outbreak in the Congo.
Right.
And the FAA would be like, oh, okay, well, we'll be keeping an eye on anybody coming out of that region into the United States. Thank you very much. And then, we've got people coming out of Africa into the United States. Call up the CDC.
Right. It's a lot of coordination and logistics, though, too. And like I was saying before, what is the record keeping and astuteness in our country? How can we expect it to be such in the others? Why would they care if they came?
I don't know that, but I know we moved over 500,000 troops and equipment on D-Day in 1941 when we needed it.
Well, I know, but that was important and rare, and there was a different time period, too, where people actually had...
Well, when you get off the phone with the girl at NORAD on, that September 11th morning and tell them that it's real world. We have planes hijacked and crashing into buildings in New York City. And the response is, oh, cool.
Well, that's true. See, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. This isn't an exercise. Oh, cool. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
So, true. I don't know. I think everything balances out. That's what I think. I think that if we're too stupid to keep a disease out of our country, and once it gets in, we're too stupid to actually take basic measures to control it and deal with it like people in Nigeria can.
Right. Well, they have. Right.
Then we deserve what we get.
Yeah, but see, that's easy to say as long as it stays out of our house. Once it comes knocking at our door and our toddler, gets it or something, it's different. It's easy to say that sort of thing when it doesn't affect you personally, right? Like, we don't even have it, thank God, yet here. So.
Yes, this just in. Kate and I don't have Ebola.
No, I mean in New York.
Oh,
no,
boy.
We don't have Ebola. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
So.
And I can say with a absolute degree of certainty that we won't have Ebola. We might go bowling.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Well, you don't want to go bowling?
It's not my thing. We did have fun that one time. But
I go to that stupid golfing thing you like to do.
Well, that's a little different than bowling. But I'm just being elitist now, I guess.
Whatever. Just don't make me go to one of those polo things you like.
Right. We'll see. Well, I like those too. Yeah, we'll see. I want to go. You wouldn't go?
To a polo match?
Right.
No.
Oh, come on. I could wear a big hat.
Be one with it, and it will be one with you.
Yes. That's right. You have to be one with the polo, and it'll be one with you.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this, people.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh,
yeah.
That was good. That was classic.
It is. I'm going to keep this.
That was almost disaster episode-ish. Well, it is. It's a major storm here. We've got glitches and hitches and glitches and such.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you go.
Right. There you go. Okay, well, back
to... So
to...
accountability and responsibility and keeping it out of the country. Hello?
Right. Exactly. So we talked about that. Whose is it? You think it's the originating country, and I think it's ours, and...
I think what's the originating country?
Well, that they should say if somebody's leaving Africa to come to the U.S.
That's not what I said.
Call the CDC, call the FAA.
No, I said the FAA would be the first logical line of defense.
Right. But who's going to call them? The Nigerians?
Nobody. No. Wow. Okay, it's clear that Kate has been listening to Z100 New York and not HTLA Radio 1 because what I said earlier on this segment was that the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, would be the guys who would know first because of flight manifests and passenger tracking, which they do, that they would know there's people coming out of an infected area. And they would also know that it's an infected area because the CDC and the World Health Organization would certainly notify the FAA, I would think.
Yes, but see, here's where I disagree. I think they're only concerned with what plane is leaving where and going to where. They don't care what's on the plane.
Not true.
That would be
they have
the
detailed
of the...
every single flight all around the world has detailed manifest of what's on board, who's on board.
Yeah, but doesn't that go to a different organization than FAA? I mean, they're the ones who are concerned with the mechanics of the flight. And
the FAA regulate everything to do with flight, period. They even regulate the air marshals. The air marshals are law enforcement officers that just happen to work on the plane. No.
Really? Well, now Homeland Security, but isn't that a department of the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
Well, if you want to trace its roots, maybe, but I'm sure they call each other.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, then maybe there's our problem.
Well, I have to agree with that, but definitely. So what do you think about they're saying that in our last segment here about the riots and that it's going to lead to riots. And
that's because people want new TVs all the time.
I know, but they're saying that we've got these splinter groups now that are calling for executions of infecteds or exile.
Hey, I'll go on one better. Let's have pay-per-view Ebola beheadings on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Well,
there's some money.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't beheadings, because that's bad and that's sad
you're
and
right.
Scary. That's
ripping off is, and then we'd get sued.
Oh, isn't that the stupidest thing, too?
What?
The ISIS thing. And then that blonde chick from Texas who just loves the Muslim religion so much she converted, and now she's the poster child for ISIS.
Well, sure, because they want all of us here in America to take up arms against our military families and go and slaughter them in their homes.
Right. They want us to convert. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Didn't they learn anything when, they didn't take over Europe?
Well, I got to tell you, the USA then and the USA now, it's a lot more easy to sway than it used to be.
I don't know. I mean, I can't disagree with you absolutely, but I still don't think, well, then that's just me again. Like my husband will tell you, I just don't believe that. Whenever I hear these terrible, bad things, I still find it so hard to believe people like that exist and it's possible in those, in those kind of situations. So I always want to believe that, when it came down to that final question, that patriotism would win out. And
Well, it should, but we've diluted this country so much with all these other cultures that don't hold those values and don't care that where are we at.
Very true. No, that's true. I know, but that's what I mean. It's just sad for me to contemplate that ever being possible.
Well, yeah.
It is. And it's hard because we do this show and we try and open people's minds and we try and give them all the perspectives. And sometimes you and I are even on opposing sides of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And we give them two perspectives, But yet, I often sit and I say to myself, well, we reach a lot of listeners. We've got 220 million exposure of our show, right? That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But how many, listen to us and say, oh, yeah, you're right. And then they just go back about their business and, what the impact is really.
Well, if you want to look at that, too, you could say that really about any media.
Well, that's true, too. But,
if you believed the stuff that Wolf Blitzer spews on CNN, you'd have gone and killed yourself a decade and a half ago.
Well, okay, true enough, right? But then how do we do that? What is that one thing that's going to kind of sway it back around and get us back to where we should be?
Well, I think you have to start with looking at things like leadership, and we don't have any.
All right. True.
And I'm not just talking about the president. I mean, where's the MacArthurs? Where's the Pattons? Where's those trademark
heroes and
icons,
individual leaders? Yeah.
Right. We can't even find a good G.I. Jane. So what the hell?
Mm.
And Schwarzkopf, what? Okay, he's a fat guy that he's retired, and
he's a long time ago. Even Colin Powell.
He was cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yes.
Condoleezza Rice and
Condoleezza.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'll do my crash talk on.
There you go. See? Yeah.
Oh, we got a lot of dead air today. Look at that.
Well, it's just, how much our... No, I don't think that's dead air. I think it's just us being quiet now and muted because it's a serious subject. It's just, what do you do, right?
Well, I'm pretty safe in sitting here sipping on my Sumatra coffee, knowing that, we're not all going to die in an Ebola plague.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, and look at you. What was it yesterday? We were having a conversation about this, the conspiracy theory stuff that you were talking about and those paranormal shows you watch and all that kind of stuff. And, more and more you're starting to lead towards the side of the conspiracy theorist.
Especially the alien stuff. No, serious. I mean, you can't dispute that evidence.
And this is where Kate blows her entire credibility right out the window.
I know, you would think, but no, not entirely, because, hey, we're sending colonists to Mars. They're sacrificing their life to spend the rest of their lives on Mars.
Look, that's some private company's propaganda to try and raise shareholders. That's all that is.
It doesn't matter. The people are going. They volunteered the rest of their lives. They're going on a suicide mission to spend the rest of their lives to colonize Mars.
Do you have any idea how many whack jobs there are in this country alone who would commit to something like that.
Yeah, but these are supposedly not whack jobs, because what's the point of sending whack jobs? We need to develop it. We need engineers and scientists and physicians. And
to commit the rest of your life to a life on Mars, colonizing it, you'd have to be a whack job.
I don't know. Do you remember that movie with Gary Sinise? Man, that was all he wanted, was to go to Mars, and that was his life stream.
I'm talking about movies again. I'm talking about reality.
I'm talking about the human condition and his reasoning for going to Mars. His wife was killed. He had nothing else to live for, and why not?
You know,
Mars.
in Star Trek: The Next Generation, it's all about exploring, because they have, a starship and transporters and shuttles and all these support systems.
Learned valuable things from shows in that way sometimes.
Absolutely,
sure.
and I'm telling you right now, some half-assed mission, privately funded,
but we don't know that's what it is.
In some one-way trip ship thing, it's not. It's poorly conceived right from the get-go. If you can't get your people back, there's a problem with your plan.
Well, I don't know. We know that it's not feasible to complete the mission and come back.
Why not?
Well, because of the time it'll take to complete the mission.
Trip to Mars is like less than 2 years.
All right, fair enough. But what about the actual mission completion once you arrive?
Well, what do you got to do? What's the mission?
Well,
Pitch a tent or
took
build another New York City?
It took a couple hundred years to build America, yeah. Build another New York City. We got to create infrastructure.
We don't even have... Wow, we're way off topic here. We don't even have the technology like they did in Aliens, yet another movie where they actually would colonize planets with these actual atmosphere generators. We don't have those.
We don't have to, according to what I've seen and read from NASA reports and such. On its own, most people think that Mars is a very red, angry planet with brown skies and brown.
I'll tell you what.
Things.
When
it's actually
those...
got a kind of blue sky, and it looks like the California desert.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when you get there, take your helmet off. Send me a picture.
Well, we don't know yet. That's the thing. We've only sent rovers. We don't know yet. We've taken samples, and they have been shown that they could, with just a few little tweaks, support life. So we'll see. Just a couple little tweaks. Yeah. So I know. But, it's true. It's true.
Okay. Ebola has made us crazy here at HTLA. Yes, it has. We're all insane now, it seems. And, yes, we're going to colonize Mars. Join us here next week when we broadcast live from Mars with our helmets off.
I'm just saying that anything is possible. Listen, everybody thought that the world was flat. They were wrong. Everybody thought that, the sun revolved around the earth. They were wrong.
And everybody thinks that America is going to die from an Ebola plague. They were wrong.
I don't know. If it goes airborne, you never know.
Yes, and that's the official word from our Mexican reporter, Lucy Sanchez.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but no, I don't know.
Okay, well, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm going to roll our last Timmy's commercial and get us out of here early. Here we go.
Okay, sounds good.
Back
Yay.
in 2 minutes, you whack job.
Oh, you went to Tim? Yeah, I got a latte and I got you your French vanilla. Thanks. Très bien. I love French vanilla. Oui, and they are only $1. Really? Wait, why are you talking with a French accent? Oh, I thought we were doing a thing. No, it's because of my French vanilla. Oh. Indulge in Tim Hortons creamy French vanilla, rich cafe mocha, or irresistible latte. Now only $1. At participating restaurants for a limited time. Small taxes.
Fourth down, Coach. What do we do?
I'll tell you what we do. I want you to go on the field. Look for anything with an O. Let's kill them with kindness. Jimmy, I want you to make balloon animals. Tyler, make little tea cozies, something fun.
Are you okay?
We will win this for Mother Russia!
Coach, eat a Snickers.
Why is that, Chief?
You get a little loopy when you're hungry. Better.
Now let's go for it!
Go get him, guys!
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
What can I get you all today? Sea salt and vinegar, smart pop butter.
I'll take caramel with a side of white cheddar.
And for you, sweetie.
The special?
Lime and salt it is.
You guys ever get tired of just eating popcorn? Because I know I never would.
Awkward. Discover all 18 flavors of Orville Redenbacher's gourmet popcorn. Simply made, passionately created.
I stood outside assessing the situation. I knew it could be rough in there, but how rough, there was no way to know for sure.
Hey, guys.
Daddy, it's pink!
But hey, a new house, it's a blank canvas, and we got a great one. Thanks to a really low mortgage rate from Navy Federal Credit Union.
Pink.
So she's a princess. You got a problem with that?
Hoorah!
4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union.
In the studio with us today are millions of Americans. Millions, welcome.
Our pleasure.
We're asking millions of Americans to get their children's eyes examined once a year. All in favor of annual eye exams for children 3 and up, say aye.
Aye.
Say, I care means you care.
I care means you care.
Now say, Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Sally sells she sells. Oops.
Gotcha.
By the seashore.
A public service message of the American Optometric Association.
And now back to Kate and Crash on Straight Talk, HTLARadio1.com.
It was so weird to...
Yes, you are listening to Kate and Crazy.
It's so weird to... Yeah, that was good. See, stick with that. That's good. It's always weird to hear that, promo come back and look at you and your mouth's not moving, but yet I'm hearing you. It's freaky.
I like it.
I do too.
Less work.
Very, very, very true.
Well, we're back, and you are listening to Straight Talk with... Yes, Kate Taylor on HTLA Radio 1 New York. It's, I'm not even going to talk about the time because the time is irrelevant here. It's morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it may be
and
to you.
And it's raining on Monday, I said it's Monday, October 7th, and it's what? Tuesday, October 7th?
8th.
And now it's the 8th. And It wasn't raining the first 2 days, and all we talked about was the rain.
Okay, so yes, this section is actually supposed to be about riots and some calling for execution of the infected of Ebola, not aliens or Mars or helmets off.
Well, that's what made me think about it. I mean, if there's people that nuts that would really seriously call for that. That's like
why,
saying...
But why not?
Okay, so all the children that have meningitis, because that's communicable too. Let's just dispose of them.
Yes.
If we haven't done it for diseases that are socially stigmatizing.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I got it out. See? Then why do it for this?
See, I sort of lean more on the side of science when it comes to this. And when we're dealing with population on the planet now approaching 10 billion...
didn't we have that show once about how there's too many people to support anyway?
Yeah, once. No, we had the show almost 2 years ago now, and back then it was a problem at 9 billion. Now we're approaching 10 billion, and people don't seem to understand that there's only so many food resources planet-wide. And I appreciate these private companies, going to Mars with suicidal people and colonizing to make more food on the desolate wasteland that it is, that doesn't support life as we know it. But we have this problem here and now, and the reason we did that show almost 2 years ago was because there was news reports, press releases from some of the world's leading scientists.
And you're saying why Mars isn't.
In all of these areas. Well, I don't see those scientists as leading in anything. But those scientists were saying that, we've got a real issue. If we kill off 3 billion people now, we still wouldn't have enough to keep going indefinitely.
Wow.
We've not done anything about that, and we're continuing on with the growth of the population to a level
ad
that
infinitum.
We can't sustain. So, we've got a real problem. So any time, there's a situation where there's outbreaks and thousands, if not more than, tens of thousands of people dying, to me, it's kind of like, well, so?
Right.
It...
I know, I see your point. But you know what also then is the shame of it, and that gets us into a whole entire another debate for another show, another day. But, it's back to what I always say. In this country, we're just all a bunch of pansies now, thanks to PCism and all that feminism and all that stuff.
You had to bring it up, didn't you?
Absolutely.
I knew you couldn't go a whole show without bringing that crap
not.
Up again.
But, why is it always, the other countries that get wiped out and all the underdeveloped countries and things like that, when, we have as many or more losers here that need to go. There's a lot more nicer, wholesome, innocent, and, just genuine people elsewhere.
Sure.
When all these, capitalist media hound, surface vain
Kim Kardashian, who
exactly
she forgot
that
her
whole
kid.
entire
She
family.
forgot her kid this morning. Did you see that?
No, please tell me that's true.
Oh, it's true.
Oh, snap.
she came out of her hotel all dressed to the nines, looking wicked as only a fat-bottomed girl can, and got out to the limo, and somebody whispered in her ear, and she turned around, went back into the hotel,
and
a few minutes later, the press caught her coming back out to get into the limo with her kid.
Oh,
she forgot her kid.
Wow.
You know, when you're that fabulous that you forget your own child, that's pretty fabulous, isn't it?
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I want to send her to Ebola Town.
I do, too. Well, you know, her and Kanye, they don't want to live in America. It's not good enough for them anymore.
I want to send him to Ebola Town, too.
You can not think about going to my Paris or my London either. So
Paris Hilton
stay
or
away.
London?
No, they want to move to Paris or London.
Ew.
They're just, please.
They wouldn't be accepted there. That would be like a...
They think their money will buy them places. It doesn't work like that. Not in the real places. Only in America does that happen. You can't buy your way into the European nobility of centuries. Sorry.
No.
Please. Especially now with a name like Kim. Yeah. So, yeah. Right. But that's what I'm saying. They should go. I mean, you know, let's wipe out all of these useless and good-for-nothing, vapid, you know.
Wastes of air.
Oxygen sucking.
Well, you know, to do that, you'd actually have to come up with an actual criteria. And then, you know, what if one of your loved ones falls into that category?
Not likely, not in my family, because I don't abide by that kind of stupidity. Actually, no. And I try and conduct this family in a way that we're self-aware and we strive to better ourselves, and that's our goal for being alive, not any other foolish thing. Right? Don't I try and do that?
Well, someone I know in my family struggles with pants. So, I don't know. You gotta wonder about that.
How are you talking about? Our son takes off his diaper and his pants?
Okay, the other one struggles with brushing hair.
Okay, there you go. But the kids don't count because they're just kids. So. Right. I'm talking about you have to be at a level where it's gauged.
We're talking about exterminating whole swaths of society. I would think kids would be involved in that.
No, absolutely not, because you don't.
Well, Justin Bieber's an adult now, isn't he?
Yes, he is,
Good.
and he can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can go.
But I think we should send him to Mars.
That would be awesome. Let him entertain the colonists.
No, screw that. Let him mastermind the colonization of the planet. He'll do well.
Oh, I want it to work.
Well,
actually, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But,
so there you go. I guess we're done now. So
yes, we are done.
I hope you've enjoyed our comedy special on Ebola.
We Ebola rock and roller. You know, we kind of diverged and digressed and devolved into.
It's okay. It's been a long week and it's only Wednesday.
Tiredness. Yeah.
Take us out, my crazy lady.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Tonight has been.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
You
Jesus,
said
you
take 'em
don't
out.
even know what the hell you're doing. Okay. From me, myself, and I, Crash Jesus, thank you on behalf of HTLA for listening to our wonderful show tonight. And tune in tomorrow and the next day and the next day for a whole bunch more. And special thanks to Tim Hortons for their support. Tim Hortons, New York City. Ooh, yeah, 8 locations to serve your goodness coffee needs. And all right, that's it for me.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you. I'd like to thank HTLA Radio 1 for keeping us here, bringing you the issues that matter with the people to whom they matter most, us especially. A huge thank you to our sponsors and supporters, and of course, we're nothing without you, our listeners. Last but not at all least, thank you to the best thing that has ever happened to me, and whom I can never get enough of either at work or at play, my producer/co-host and husband, Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor. Now, be sure to be here next Monday, meeps, because you never know who's going to show up on Straight Talk to talk straight. Be fierce, kitties. Meow. Good night.